This is the Second World War, which started with the invasions of Germany in 1939 and ended with the defeat of Japan in 1945. The world's most powerful states came together and formed two opposing military alliances, Allies Axis powers well. The whole world, what were the reasons for the war that cost the lives of 50 million people, in which they brutally attacked each other? Come on, let me explain in more detail. Subscribe. Germany was defeated in World War I. Its army was limited to 100,000 soldiers, and it was forbidden to use aircraft and ships. As a result of all these, Germany's economy collapsed in the 1920s, and the people agreed to give this. Everything started when Adolf Hitler became the head of the Nazi Party and promised that the German race was the superior race, that Germany was not in the place it deserved, and that the lands lost after the First World War would be taken back. Adolf Hitler came to power in 1933. Immediately afterwards, the German economy grew rapidly. After the economy was put in order, Hitler began to work to free the German land naval and air forces from the restrictions imposed by the Treaty of Versailles. As a result of these studies, the production of large tonnage warships, submarines, and armored land combat vehicles began. In addition, the land army was an opposite force of the Treaty of Versailles. In order to prevent the rearmament of Germany, where the number was increased to over 300,000, the United Kingdom, France, and Italy met among themselves and created a pocket called Stries. But after a while, the United Kingdom agreed with Germany and agreed to have warships other than submarines, up to 135 of the total number of the UK Navy. This is one of the most serious mistakes on the road to the war. At that time, the regions where the German-speaking population lived were annexed to German territory. As the first step of this idea, the German army annexed Austria on March 12, 1938. But did not any state in Europe speak out against the occupation? With the courage given by this, the next target was the Process region within the territory of Czechoslovakia. British Prime Minister Arthur Neville Chamberlain wanted to meet with Hitler to follow a peaceful policy and to prevent a new world war. With the agreement, the Sudeten region was given to Germany. In 2938, the German forces occupied the Sudeten region, where more than 50% of the population was made up of Germans, without using any weapons. But Hitler did not keep his promise and occupied the thick of Czechoslovakia only 6 months later. Until these events, Adolf Hitler's strategy, while he was taking his steps, he had no weapons. There was only one problem left in this job: the region of Danzig. The region of Danzig, the Danzig region, which was given to Poland by the Treaty of Versailles. Although he offers southern plus or some land, Poland rejects this, and Hitler decides to attack Poland. France and England had previously stated that Germany's claim on any European land would be a reason for war. But Hitler said that no one would want to attack Germany. An intelligent person is sure that he will not enter into an all-out war for a small region. The German armies crossed their borders. On the morning of September 1939, the German army was the first to use the techniques of lightning war. In a short time, the west of the country, which had split the rights of the incident, was occupied. The United States, which had previously said that a 3D attack on the Germans would provide an act of war, the kingdom, and France did not remain silent this time. And on September 3rd, the United Kingdom, and a day later, France declared war on Germany. But before the British and French soldiers could reach them, on September 17, 1939, troops of the Soviet Red Army attacked Poland's eastern borders and captured Poland. They started to invade from the east. Poland, which was caught between two fires, surrendered in 1939. Not content with this, Stalin, the president of Soviet Russia, sent a note to the Baltic countries asking for governments close to the Soviet Union to come to power, and immediately afterwards, the Red Army entered the territory of Latvia and Estonia within a month. The governments that came to power with the general elections held in these countries decided to join the Soviet Union. Thus these lands, which were lost from the hands of the new Soviet government at the end of a world war, were regained. But Soviet Russia was not satisfied with this, and Finland, with which it had previously signed a non-aggression, France and the United States, with which it attacked this country before the Royal Soviets declared war. Finland sent an army of 100,000 people to fight in Finland, but unexpectedly, Norway and Sweden, who were afraid of Soviet Russia, did not allow these soldiers to pass through their territory. This was something that France and the United Kingdom never expected. Finland Russia for a short time Russia, which occupied a small part of Finland after the war, ended the war by making an agreement with Finland, but Finland decided to participate in the Second World War on the side of Germany in the hope of taking back the lost lands. So the world was suddenly divided into three groups. Subscribe those first goals. Adolf Hitler, who got what he wanted in Austria, Czechoslovakia and Poland, knew that he would need a lot of weapons as a result of the war spreading to the west. Steel coming from Sweden was of great importance. In order not to interrupt the production of weapons, he was worried that the Allied forces would block the way of steel coming from Sweden. Hitler immediately went to Norway. He wanted the island to be occupied. The shortest road to Norway was passing from behind Hanum. So the German motorized troops took a turn very quickly and occupied this place. At the same time, the Allied forces had dispatched their forces to land in Norway from the sea, but the German forces were not that fast. He acted that Norway was occupied in a short period of 1.5 months. This was a failure for the Allied forces. On the same day, the German attack unexpectedly turned to the west. Dark and disastrous days are approaching for Europe and the whole world. 7. The same France in the First World War. The invasion plan was to reach the north of the Pass line and draw a wide arc through Belgian and Dutch territory to advance into French territory. However, Hitler was too good a strategy to implement this plan, which could easily be predicted by everyone. The Allied forces were also expecting an attack based on the Eastern Plan and defense. According to this plan, which was later codenamed the Sedan Plan, it was created and put forward by General Much-Time. According to this plan, the Allied forces would be divided into two by passing through the Ardennes forest between southern Belgium and Luxembourg and attacking the Sedan direction with armored units. This is a very risky plan. It is very unfavorable in terms of terrain. Moreover, until they passed through the forest, the Allied forces could have understood the Sedan plan and transferred their forces here immediately. But Hitler even came up with a plan. An army consisting of 5 periods will attack Belgium and the Netherlands, where the Allies were exactly waiting for the attack. It was going to enter the territory of France. This was not exactly an ingenious plan that the Allies could not have predicted. It was in the spring of May 19, 1940. The German forces remained faithful to the plan and began to attack by crossing the Belgian and Dutch borders at the same time. The German air forces began to weaken the Kitchen and the Dutch and Belgian defences with their intense attacks. So much so that operation on the second day of the Belgian forces were forced to retreat, as predicted. The first reaction of the Allied forces was to advance northwards towards the Belgian and Dutch territories. 2 days later, the German forces said that they would not attack the Allied forces. Don't forget to like and subscribe for the continuation of the video.